stand-up feels like obviously the most natural thing, but hurling my body to an airport, I kind of have to disassociate like a child that's getting abused or something.
Yes.
I'm like, I'm going to go to a meadow where it's safe until I'm landing in Atlanta.
Yes.
Yeah.
Here, I
that's
zombie
happened
out.
with everything in my life, though. Like, truly everything. Like, even having a kid, I was kind of like, I guess I'm doing this. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But that might be the most healthy attitude because you know what? You're more present.
Yeah.
You're more present.
Well, I'm
I
too
check
tired to form a new memory, so it's not like I'm present.
I know, but if you're not planning ahead, I do think you're present. I think if you're not like thinking about everything that's coming next, you're like, this is going to happen.
Well, I
That is being present.
I do feel like that's why I kind of relate to comedian moms a little bit more than some other moms, because I feel like, or at least people like a little more like me, because I'm like type D, like I'm the least type A person.
Yeah.
So I didn't read a single book about pregnancy. Like I was just like, whatever. I just had one, like my dermatologist told me what to do. And I was like, okay. She's like, have a C-section. I'm like, all right. One type A bitch to give me like a plan.
Right.
Do it. You know, and I feel like, a lot of women get very like, I don't know, they just get like holier than thou around like birthing and stuff. And I'm just like, the rest of our lives is so exciting and compelling. Like, I don't care how my kid arrives, you know?
Yeah.
And that's why it was very satisfying, like to talk to like Rosebud. That's why I loved your special so much, because I just feel like it's nice to talk to a mom that's like, also maybe a little darker. I feel like I overshare too fast.
100%.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Story of my
Yeah.
life.
Like I'm just like,
Playground
I'm never
is
going
a
to be
dark
that
place.
like,
You start telling parents how you really feel, and they start backing away slowly, and you're like, "Oh, I fucked this up.
Yes.
I thought we were bonding."
I always say too much too fast.
Me too.
Yes. Like they're just like, oh, we just started teething, and I'm like, I'm snacking on Xanax.
Flip it.
Snack.
Flip it, Peters.
Well, I think our brain naturally goes to the craziest place.
I know.
And we have to
Yeah.
dial it back for non-comedians
Yeah.
all the time.
Mateo was saying that to me the other night, because he's just like, I see the way that you and I interact with people, and he's just like, we have to remember that's not what most people do. Like, I'm just like,
Yeah.
should we take this to the sickest place possible?
Okay, I feel better. You guys are giving me shit. This is why I'm jerking off on Esty.
Mateo.
I'm going to the craziest place. That's all I was doing.
Mateo is the best fucking person to be your neighbor. It's so fucking nice to have him in my building.
He's a good egg.
Yeah,
I love him
it's
so much.
crazy.
Best. He's just so
I
fun.
really love him so much.
Oh,
Him
That's the
screaming
best.
at his Italian aunts too is like nothing makes me laugh more than
His Chicago
women
family,
screaming
yeah.
at the TV together and like, no, watch Hoarders, put on Hoarders, Mateo.
I also appreciate just the comedians in general. Like when you have a kid, they don't care. And it's nice because they don't for a while I was like, I'm lonely. And then I was like, oh, they just don't care because I'm still the same person to them. They none of them gave me that bullshit like, hey, mama. They didn't do any of that. And I was so grateful for that because I didn't want to be treated differently.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. It was almost a relief to be around narcissists because I was just like, they didn't feel like they had to lower their voice an octave. I'm like, it didn't even occur to them whether you slept last night or not, which
they
is
don't give
somehow
a fuck.
appealing because you
That's
can sleep
interesting.
yourself. Yeah.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to high school with a bunch of mook, drunk, psycho guys, and they didn't care about anything. And it was they didn't ask you about your day or anything. It was just get drunk, black out, fight each other, whatever. And it was a easier life.
Those guys are weirdly non-judgmental.
Yes.
You think of them as judgmental, but then you're like, now these guys only care about getting drunk.
Yeah.
Well, you say that until you cry in front of them.
Don't do that.
Then they're like, get him.
Yeah. But I've had comics meet my high school friends who are like, whoa, how do you hang out with those guys? And
Yeah.
you're
I
like,
have
it was
one
easy. We
I have
didn't
one
think
that
about
still
it.
hits me up all the time, and he is like a complete psycho.
There you
His
go.
mom was a hoarder. They got kicked out of their building. He's like a chess genius. So he was ranked #1 in the country, but he also was like a raging cokehead. And
Is this your gambling friend, the one that gambles?
Yeah,
Yes.
he's a gamble. Dude. He used to show up at shows, and Phil Hanley would be like, "This guy's incredible," and I'd be like, "Give it a couple hours."
Yeah.
He'd be like, what the fuck's wrong with this guy?
Seeing what's happened to the rich kids that I grew up with, because there's they always had money. They didn't try to be anything because they had everything they needed. So
Yeah.
I'll go home and I remember going to pick up a steak or something from a steakhouse, and my friend who I'd gone to high school with comes around the corner in a waitress outfit, and she's got this, and she's on crutches, and she's like, Rosebud, how's it going? And I was like, hey, what happened? She goes, I fell off a roof.
You know what that reminds me of is Schumer's
we're
high school
30.
friend. You ever hang out with them? Like, he'd be on a private jet with Schumer or something, and she'd be like, I'm going to bring my Long Island high school friends.
They're the
And
most
they were
fun
like,
girls you ever met.
so fun, crazy, doing shots.
They're all
and
just
shit.
like nurses with like the scratchiest voice you could ever hear.
Yeah,
in your
bad
life.
tattoos. They got like a
But
I'm like, how do you have a burden when you just moved straight to Long, like you just stayed in Long Island, and they're like, but they seem like they've been around the world like 3 times.
But it's the best, man. Those friends you grew up with, it's like, it's fucking so satisfying.
Yeah.
Because you do like, oh shit, this is
Oh, totally.
one of my friends. He's bartends at the Cellar, Dan Hall.
Look at that.
He's at the.
Oh, he's a great guy.
He's my boy. I mean, we grew up together. I love him. You know?
I know.
Mark in that photo.
I know.
Those were the good old days.
That is hilarious in that photo.
But yeah, anytime somebody's at the cellar like, this guy's toxic, I'm like, I grew up with a guy exactly like that, and he was my best friend.
Because the toxic guy's fucking funny.
They're funny and they're fun and they do
They're a
crazy
fun hang.
shit.
That's why I used to like to hang with the skaters in high school, because the skaters were funny. They were like the dry, weird,
That was
checked
me.
out guys that
That's all
may or
we
may
did.
not commit suicide.
Yes,
Yeah.
but they got some edge.
Yeah.
And the toxic guy's more fun than the narc.
100%.
Like you were like, the funniest thing about Mark is that like in every picture it looks like somebody photoshopped you in because you were on the road.
That's Ben. That
Yeah, he was the,
He's like
the woodsman.
He'd do all the cool furniture.
Woodworking,
I like
yeah.
that guy a lot.
Great guy.
It's fun.